We're live.
We
Hey there,
on?
Paul. Yeah, we
Hey,
are. We're
Jake.
back.
Another edition of Live Feed Read with my co-host Jason Crawford, the
Yep.
Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson.
I got my headset on like a true wingman this time.
I love the earplugs, the ear muffs, whatever the heck you call them. All right, so let's jump right into it,
Yeah.
and then we'll see if anybody has some comments. Of course, I don't know if everybody knows or has heard that Texas, the state of Texas, enacted this basically abortion law that, where the Democrats left the state and went to Washington, D.C. and this, that, and the other, and made headlines for weeks and weeks and weeks. And so it sort of came to a head when they returned back to Texas, or at least enough returned back for them to have a quorum to vote to pass this bill. All right, so the bill is basically a ban on abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy. All right, so that's number one. Number two is, what might be the problem with that is it's my understanding from reading a little bit of the literature that a lot of women don't even know they're pregnant at 6 weeks. The abortion laws from the federal level more get into between 22 and 24 weeks. Before that, you can have an abortion. After that, if the states which they have enacted some laws prohibiting that, I think determines late-term abortions, then so be it. Now, I'm not saying I'm for abortion. I'm not saying I'm anti-abortion, pro-choice, pro anything. This is just an explanation to why the Supreme Court of the United States voted 5-4 not to stay or basically block or stop the law from going into effect until it could be heard in its entirety.
Okay.
And as again, once I'm reviewing this Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweets out, Supreme Court decision overturns Roe versus Wade. I'd like to punch her in the face, to be quite honest, Jason, because that's just,
we don't condone violence, but yeah.
Of course not. But no violence. I agree.
It's a mischaracterization, though. Deeply.
Yes, I'd like facetiously. I agree.
Ooh,
but it's a lie. What happened is simply this. The abortion law goes into effect on Wednesday, yesterday, and the federal court, remember, there's federal court judges, they call them district courts. There's appellate courts, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeal that handles the Texas, Louisiana area. Then there's the Supreme Court. Well, and there's state courts. There's the circuit court, would be here. I don't know what they call it in Texas. There's the circuit court, there's appellate courts, and there's the state Supreme Court. So there are two constitutions at play here. Number one, the federal constitution, and number two, the Texas state constitution. Either one of those constitutions could block this law from becoming, or staying and not being struck down as being unconstitutional under Texas law or unconstitutional under federal law. So the Supreme Court, and they were clear, Justice Roberts are clear when they said the court's order emphatically makes it clear we're not ruling on the constitutionality of the law at issue. What are we doing, basically? We're saying that there is a high burden. It says right here, the individuals bringing the case have not met their high burden required by law for a stay to be put in place. What does that mean? You got to go through the proper channels. You've got to start at the bottom and work your way up, like every other case, more or less, that gets to the Supreme Court, with exceptions. Now, what's the problem here? God bless the lawyers in Texas, and they're not stupid. What did they do, Jason? Here's what they did. It says the ban on abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy is well before most women even know they're pregnant, and it's at odds with the Supreme Court's 50-year precedents. Precedents meaning for 50 years, Supreme Court said, Roe versus Wade is the law of the land, and women have the right to an abortion with certain limitations. Okay, well, look at Texas. What did Texas do? Texas says, well, we're going to draft this law and make individuals responsible for enforcing it. You're like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, normally, the established procedure for challenging a state law is to sue officials charged with the enforcement of the law, right? Well, the Texas legislature wrote the law instead putting citizens in charge of enforcement. What does that mean? Dude, you yourself, if you're a Texas resident, you could sue possibly the taxi driver or the Uber Lyft driver taking the woman to the abortion clinic. Oh. You could sue the receptionist at their abortion clinic because she participated in the illegal. You could sue the doctor. You could sue the nurse. Anybody involved with this could be sued, and could be sued by an individual who has absolutely nothing to do with the woman, her family, her loved one, her child. Nothing.
That's like a gaping hole, it would seem.
That's a joke. I mean, a joke. So, in my opinion, will this law be held unconstitutional? If I was in Vegas, I would put all of my money, not most of my money, I would put all of my money and Leanne on that pot. Sorry, Leanne. Yeah, we're betting this one too, because it will be. But you have to go through the channels. You've got to start at the federal court. In fact, as we speak, I guarantee you there are lawsuits filed by any number of different people, clinics, doctors, you name it, groups, ACLU, whoever, have filed in Texas court and have filed in federal court. And soon you will start hearing in the news that one or two of these judges have either held that the law is unconstitutional or not, which would be a shocker. But either way, you're going to start hearing that, and then you're going to start hearing the appeals and this, that, and the other. And then ultimately, depending on what the appellate court rules, the Supreme Court may or may not take it. Let's say the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeal, which is the one that basically takes this Texas law, says this is unconstitutional. Guess what? That may be the end of it. Supreme Court may say, yep, we're not even going to take it up. It's unconstitutional. Move on. Okay. So you don't get to just go from, A to Z. A being, okay, here's a unconstitutional law. Z, let's go to the Supreme Court. There's B through whatever the heck the letter is before Z that you've got to go to get there.
Yeah, okay.
Now, to be honest, they probably should have issued the stay. But again, it's interesting. You don't see many laws coming out of the state of Texas make it to the Supreme Court. You'd have to do some history on Texas. They actually had a government thrust upon them. Back in the 1800s, they had a governor thrust upon them. So it's really a weird situation over there in Texas. And so you don't get a lot of constitutional challenges that make it to the Supreme Court. They're actually hoping that it gets dealt with at the first level, which is the district court level, the trial judge, so to speak. Then they hope it gets to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeal, because they don't want, it's like, don't mess with Texas. That's because nobody knows what the hell's going on over there.
Yeah, I was going to say, everything's bigger in Texas, including the confusion, right?
So here's the thing. It says,
that's interesting.
Justice Sotomayor, the court's order is stunning. Presented with an application to enjoin a flagrantly unconstitutional law engineered to prohibit women from exercising their constitutional rights and evade judicial scrutiny, a majority of justices have opted to bury their heads in the sand. Now, why they did that, I'm not really sure. But either way, last night, the court silently acquiesced in the state's enactment of a law that flouts nearly 50 years of federal precedent. Today, the court belatedly explains that it declined to grant relief because of the procedural complexities of the state's own intervention, meaning the states drafted this law so this could happen. Because the court's failure to act rewards tactics designed to avoid judicial review and inflict significant harm on the applicants and on the women seeking abortions, I dissent. So you can see where the legislature got cute. They enacted this law that basically now you kind of have to snake your way through the river to get ultimately probably what's going to happen is the law is going to get thrown in the crapper. Again, that doesn't mean I agree with the law. That doesn't mean I disagree with the law.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not making judgments because obviously this country's divided. Some people are pro-choice, some people are not. And that's your decision, not mine. I'm just saying that people like this Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez stating.
I love how you pronounce her name every time. Are you familiar with her?
No.
Okay, yeah. She's everywhere. And
I've seen her. And
she is very well known for mischaracterizing.
Blasting about we need face masks, but she's not wearing one until they take a picture of her. Then she takes it off as soon as the picture's done.
She went down to the wall and took pictures, did a photo shoot.
Other than she says we should use this to get rid of the filibuster and pack the Supreme Court. I just hate liars. I hate thieves and I hate liars, and I got no place in my life for either one of them, especially our government elected officials. So not that anybody's going to listen to me, but you know what? Stop lying.
Yeah, right.
Just stop lying. But anyway, I could go on and on. I'm not gonna.
She's inflammatory, to say the least.
Yeah, it's just, and that's back to don't believe everything you read on that stupid internet, on that stupid Twitter, on that stupid Instagram.
Wait, we're on there now. Wait a minute.
Yeah, but we ain't lying. If I'm lying, I'm dying.
That's true. You know what? There's a lot of information out there. Do your homework. Do your due diligence. Like really good. And so can I take a caveat to this? Because like a lot of people don't know that like what you're saying, don't believe everything you see on the internet. A lot of people don't know that as you consume content on the internet, the algorithms feed you more of what you've engaged with. So the more that you've engaged with this, whether you like it or hate it, they feed you more of what you engage with. And so the more that you engage with stuff that is inflammatory or dissenting or contradictory, you're actually crafting more of what you're going to see. You're curating your own future content with what you engage on. So just be mindful of that as you go to YouTube and Facebook and Google, that it's feeding you more of the stuff that you're continuing to see the more that you click on it. So if you're one of these people who just feels like the world's falling apart and every time you click on something, it's this great massive thing that you're seeing and you keep clicking on them, you're going to keep seeing more of them, right? Like, so keep that in mind.
I think we either talked about it or I saw something. It's like this. If you're, and again, I don't care what news outlet, there's just two easy examples. CNN on one side, Fox on the other.
Right.
If you just go to Fox and you just keep clicking on Fox and all the articles on Fox, you're just going to think that Jesus is coming back because the world's coming to an end. If you go to CNN and you click on CNN, this one, then they're going to send you another one and another one and another one and another one and another one. I recommend you do what I do. You don't have to. Jason, I go to the Fox website. I read that. I go to the CNN website. I read that. Believe it or not, I go to the BBC website. I read that. Then I go to my local paper. I read that. Okay. Don't just read one side of a story. Guess what? When you go into court as a trial lawyer, I can sit on the plaintiff's side of the table and win. That same case, I feel I can sit on the defense side of the table and win. That's what you want to be in life. You don't want to just be multi or unilateral or uni. You want to have a broad understanding of both sides to the story. Because like I always tell people at mediations, there's three stories: your side, my side, and what a jury believes and what they think. And so it's like your side, my side, and the truth. Don't just look at Fox News. Don't just watch Hannity and Engel and whatever. Watch the other ones. Now, mind you, it may be frustrating, but both sides have a point of view, and you should know what it is. That way you can make your informed decision and not just rely on what Sean Hannity has to say or Rachel or Meadows or Lester Holt. I don't know who the hell all these people are, but you want to basically be well-educated, well-rounded, and hear all sides, and then you make your own decision. I
can't remember the name of it, but I found there's an app that'll literally tell you, like, it'll take all of the news sources, like when you see an article, and it'll show you left, right, lean, and it has like different gradations. So as you read them, you can read them understanding the lean, and then read
gradation. Gradation.
Yeah. And you can kind of see like, how they present themselves differently. So, and once you do that comparison contrast and you get enough of that, like you'll do it. But be mindful as you curate your content, what you click on, because you're going to see more of it. You're going to see more of it. If you're clicking on dance videos, you're going to see a ton of dance videos. You're going to think all YouTube is dance videos. But then, like, if you click on politics and stuff, you're going to see more of that, and it even nuances down to ideologies. So you'll definitely be mindful of that as you consume the content online.
Did you hear that?
Oh, what?
Yeah. No, the phone's listening to me, so I'm just talking to the people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have to be careful of that too.
Fox News, CNN, and BBC. How about this?
Alexa, shut up.
So anyway, I'm gonna put you back over here, but keep listening. All right, let's get out of town. It's another. Well, I would say it's a rainy day.